Welcome to the Binger. Usually, it's not a good thing to learn that a crisis is coming. For Arrowverse fans, though, the upcoming crossover, Crisis on Infinite Earths, can't come soon enough. By the time it airs its first episode, fans will have been looking forward to the massive 5-series event for a year. The Flash and his team, however, may not be feeling quite as excited. In fact, the crisis may have a dire impact on Team Flash. In this video, we're filling you in on everything you need to know about what's happening with the Flash as Crisis looms. Ever since The Flash appeared in 2014, the show has hinted that Crisis on Infinite Earths was coming. The Arrow spin-off's premiere episode showed the front page of a newspaper from the future. The headline of the top story reports that The Flash has disappeared in a crisis. The date? April 2024. As the series has progressed, The Flash has returned to that headline again and again. And although some details have changed, The Flash's disappearance always remains the same. This has served as an ominous backdrop for the show for much of its run. However, the reality of Barry Allen's disappearance came to the forefront in The Flash's 5th season. Barry and Iris's adult daughter, Nora, traveled back in time from the future. Once she joined Team Flash, she admitted that the Flash did, indeed, vanish in 2024 when she was a toddler, and he never returned. During Nora's time with Team Flash, Barry found himself off on a separate mission with Superman, Supergirl, and Green Arrow in Elseworlds. That Arrowverse crossover had consequences that have led directly to Crisis on Infinite Earths. The events of Elseworlds precede Crisis by a year, and they've loomed over the Arrowverse that whole time. In Elseworlds, Barry and Oliver Queen swapped lives after Dr. John Deegan used the Book of Destiny to change reality. Deegan's actions were encouraged by the mystical being known as the Monitor, and Barry and Oliver, as well as Supergirl and Superman, are locked in a battle with Deegan to set things right. According to the Monitor, the whole experience is designed to prepare the heroes for something even worse that's still to come. However, when Oliver realized that Kara and Barry would perish in their attempt to defeat Deegan, Oliver approached the Monitor directly. He made a deal with the mysterious being. In exchange for his friends' lives, Oliver agreed to do whatever the multiverse requires. Oliver didn't tell anyone about his bargain. Instead, he went about his life assuming the Monitor wouldn't come to collect on their deal until years later. So Oliver finally saves his city, and then moves to a secret safe house with his wife Felicity to raise their daughter, Mia. Shortly after Mia is born, the Monitor comes to their home to take Oliver away so that he can make good on his promise. And if Oliver having to leave his family weren't bad enough, the Monitor shares some even worse news. During his work to help save the multiverse in a coming crisis, Oliver will meet his fate. Oliver leaves with the Monitor like he promised, at least comforted by the knowledge that even if he perishes, his family and friends are safe. It turns out, though, that Oliver's sacrifice to protect the people he cares about may not protect everyone, and one of the people who may be most impacted by the coming crisis is Barry Allen. One of Nora's goals in The Flash's 5th season was to get to know her father, yet she also desperately wanted to figure out a way to prevent her father's disappearance in the first place. Unfortunately, Nora's timeline tinkering had dire consequences. The most upsetting was that Nora erased herself from the timeline. However, in the last few moments of the series' 5th season finale, fans learned that something else had happened too. The Year on the Future newspaper that announced the Flash's disappearance changed from 2024 to 2019. This change means the loss of the Flash is on the horizon, and Team Flash no longer has a lot of time to prevent it. Of course, fans of the comics version of Crisis on Infinite Earths knows that Barry's fate in that story doesn't bode well for his TV counterpart. The 1985 to 1986 comic version of the tale is considered iconic. It brought together heroes and villains from across the DC universe, including Barry Allen's version of the Flash. This alliance fought against the Anti-Monitor, another mystical being who wants to wipe out the entire multiverse. Ultimately, several heroes perished and the multiverse collapsed into a single Earth. Two of the heroes that met their ends in the comic crisis were Barry Allen's Flash and Kara Danvers' Supergirl. It was these two characters' fates that Oliver was trying to prevent in Elseworlds. Yet, even though he succeeded then, they may not actually be safe now, especially given the world-ending danger of the crisis. The fact that the Earth is not safe from the crisis that's about to impact the whole multiverse is driven home by the Monitor himself. The Monitor surprises Barry and Iris during a quiet moment when they are honoring their lost daughter. He informs them that he wants their universe to survive, and part of his plan to ensure that happens is to discourage Barry from hoping. He warns that they can't prevent the coming crisis. Yet when Iris interjects that Barry has another 5 years before he vanishes, the Monitor corrects her. As we already know, the timeline was moved up, but the Monitor reveals the exact date of the Flash's disappearance, December 10th, 2019. It's a date that also happens to coincide with the Flash's episode of the 5-part Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover. And according to the Monitor, the Flash won't simply disappear on that date. He will make the ultimate sacrifice, and there's nothing Barry or anyone else can do about it. Then the Monitor makes his ultimate pronouncement. For billions to survive in the coming crisis, the Flash's life must end. The Monitor's revelation is very similar to the one he delivered to Oliver about his fate. And just like with Oliver, the Monitor insists there's absolutely nothing that can be done to prevent the Scarlet Speedster's demise. However, unlike Oliver, the Monitor has also given Barry the date on which he'll perish. This means that Barry and Iris will spend every day until then thinking about the dark path that Barry has before him. And it will impact everything that they do. In fact, according to the Flash showrunner Eric Wallace, the Monitor's revelation about Barry's fate will have a big impact on the show. Wallace and his writing team have decided to divide up the 6th season into separate stories that he calls graphic novels. The first graphic novel takes place before Crisis on Infinite Earths, and the second takes place after. Both will tell separate stories, but the events of Crisis will drive them both. And needless to say, after the Monitor's declaration, Barry and Iris will be having a hard time. Part of their story will be about whether or not they should fight or make peace with Barry's fate. Even though it taxes their relationship, it also brings them closer as they face down the coming crisis together. Yet, even though the crisis will be hard on Barry, Iris, and the other characters of The Flash, it's going to be a blast for fans. The news about what the Arrowverse is putting together for the crossover event has been really exciting. That's especially since it includes guest stars galore. Some of the guest stars are characters we've seen before, including Tyler Hoechlin's Superman, Elizabeth Tulloch's Lois Lane, and Jon Cryer's Lex Luthor. Plus, Brandon Routh, who plays Ray Palmer in the Arrowverse show Legends of Tomorrow, will appear, but not as his fan-favorite character. Instead, he'll be playing the Kingdom Come version of Superman. It's a chance for Routh to reprise his role as Superman, a character he played in the 2006 movie Superman Returns. Also, Black Lightning, who has his own DC show on the CW but so far hasn't been connected to the Arrowverse, will make an appearance. That means that his show will officially join the shared DC TV universe. There are also more than a few guests in Crisis who have never appeared in the Arrowverse before. That includes Osric Chow, who's playing scientist Ryan Choi, and Ashley Scott, who will stop by to reprise her Birds of Prey role as Huntress. Burt Ward, who played Robin in the 1960s Batman TV show, will make an appearance in an unknown role. Also, Kevin Conroy, who's voiced Batman in the animated series, will play a version of Bruce Wayne from the future. And if that wasn't enough, the crossover boasts 2 alums from Smallville. Tom Welling and Erica Durance will appear as their characters, Clark Kent and Lois Lane. Crisis will offer up a glimpse of what they've been up to in the years since the Young Superman show ended in 2011. For fans of The Flash, though, the most interesting addition to the Crisis lineup may be the pivotal character of Pariah. Pariah will be played by Tom Cavanaugh, who typically plays the various versions of Harrison Wells. According to The Flash showrunner Wallace, Pariah is key to bringing the Anti-Monitor to the multiverse. Cavanaugh has played many different characters on The Flash, but his turn as Pariah may be his most fascinating role yet. In addition to all those guest stars, the heroes we know and love will all be in the middle of the crisis. Batwoman, Supergirl, Green Arrow, the Legends of Tomorrow, and of course The Flash will all fight together. Their goal will be to prevent the destruction of the multiverse at the hands of the Anti-Monitor. And with such high stakes, it makes sense that at least 1 or 2 of these characters might be lost. So does that mean that Flash's fate is sealed? Is there anything that can be done to stop it? According to showrunner Wallace, not so much. Wallace has declared that what the Monitor said is true. We're not messing around, Wallace promised. Yikes. There really doesn't seem to be a whole lot of wiggle room here, and since the Barry Allen version of the Flash perishes in the comics crisis, his television fate seems set. There is one ray of hope though. The Monitor never specifically said that Barry Allen will die. He said the Flash will die. And there are many people who go by that superhero moniker across the multiverse. We've even met some of them. Even though the Monitor delivers the news to Barry as if he is the one who will sacrifice himself, could another Flash take his place? The Monitor is an all-seeing, all-knowing being. However, he's never really been very direct. So it's possible that a Flash could perish in Crisis, but it doesn't have to be Barry. Perhaps the Monitor is keeping that loophole hidden for some mysterious purpose. One way or another, on December 10th, 2019, we'll find out what fate has in store for Barry Allen's Flash. What do you think Barry's odds of survival are in Crisis on Infinite Earths? Are you worried about anyone else on Team Flash going into the crossover? Give us your predictions in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe to The Binger for more pop culture videos before you go. Thanks for watching.